What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about something that's extremely controversial. It's the fact that nobody wants to buy EVs. Now, before everybody's heads explode and all you Tesla fanboys blow up my comment section like, what are you talking about? Everybody loves EVs, everybody loves Tesla. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, the market doesn't lie, the proof is in the pudding, the fat lady is saying, everything is pointing that nobody wants EVs. Now, I buy and sell cars all across the United States. I run thousands of dollars in ads basically saying I will buy your car for cash. And you guys want to guess what the number one car I get that's way overpriced and people owe way too much money on? If you've guessed EVs, that is correct. Mostly, believe it or not, Teslas. People paid way too much money for these cars and they're simply not selling. Now, the main reason why I wanted to make this video is I want to let people know what's currently going on in the market. So if you're thinking about buying an EV, please wait, watch this video, and then remake your decision. Now, just recently, I decided to stop buying all EVs completely. At the end of the day, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. But where I see the EV market going absolutely makes no sense at all. Now, as I look at cars, I look at what they're going for at the auction, I look for what dealers are paying for them, I look what dealerships are financing them for, and I look what banks want to lend on them. All these things you start to stare over and over again, and as you look into the abyss of the auto market, you start to see trends and you start to see patterns. And one of the things that I keep seeing over and over again is the fact that nobody wants these EVs. They're just simply not selling and they're not worth what people are asking for them. So I'm going to give you a few examples why I decided not to buy any more EVs and why I'm walking away from that market completely and just buying regular cars. One of the main reasons is the literally collapse of the resale market. Now, I've made plenty of videos about this. I'll leave some links up here and I'll also put some pictures up. Let's say you bought a Audi e-tron GT, you paid $120,000 for it. Today that car is worth about 60 grand. Tesla Plaid, same thing, you lost like 40% of your vehicle value. If you bought a Lucid Air, lost about 46% of your value. A Ford Lightning, you've lost 51% of your vehicle value. I could go on and on and on and on about all these people that paid way over MSRP for cars and just they're absolutely getting crushed now because they're simply not worth it. Now, I purchased a Tesla Model 3. I purchased actually 3 of them from Hertz for a very good price because everybody in my comment section was like, I want a Tesla, get me one. And they have that used tax credit for, I think it was 4,000 bucks. So I bought these cars, cleaned them up, took them to auction. After, it took me about 3 weeks from when I bought them to when I got them to the auction. And within those 3 weeks, I lost $3,000 of value, which is absolutely crazy. That was my basically market for what I was going to do to make profit. And so now I'm basically selling these cars for what I bought them for. Another one that was absolutely crazy is I did a bid on a Lucid Air and the guy turned me down. And about a week later, he messaged me up. He's like, hey, I'll take your bid. When can you send the money? And I was like, well, give me your information. I have to double check. And so I reran the booking. From when I ran it about 2 weeks ago till today, it dropped $20,000 in value. So I didn't want to catch a falling knife. I told the customer, unfortunately, I can't offer you that same number. The market is going the other way. And he was upset, called me an asshole, all this crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, I told him, you know what? You can go somewhere else. I am no longer buying EVs. Every time I talk to, unfortunately, an EV buyer, it breaks my heart because they spent way too much money. The last one is a Tesla Plaid. Now, these things are very popular, but unfortunately, he bought it about a year and a half ago for $127,000. He's got 6,000 miles on it. He thought that he could get at least $95,000 for it. When I gave him the quote of 56,000 bucks, his head almost exploded. He thought I was trying to rip him off. I'm full of crap. And I told him, you know what? Go watch a few of my videos. I sent him a link, and I told him this is where the market is trending. And he was absolutely mortified. He got a less offer. I think it was 55,000 from Tesla. So he's like, less than 6,000 miles, owned it for a year and a half, and lost 55% of its value. And this is why I keep telling people, Tesla literally screws their customers by dropping the price of their cars. And if you haven't noticed, they're not selling. Tesla's laying off people. The market in China, which they thought would be really great, now China doesn't want to mess with them because they think that Teslas are spying on their people. So now they're pushing Chinese EVs. So they're losing all that money there. They're laying off thousands of people. And I guarantee you they're going to do one more price drop because, believe it or not, the only EV manufacturer in the United States that's making money is actual Tesla because they make about 68% of their parts in-house. But if they drop it again, what does that mean? It's going to absolutely crush every single person below there. I knew dealers, customers that owned these Teslas that were trying to either keep them or sell them. And when they did those 4 price drops over that last year, it just absolutely decimated the market. And another trend that I'm seeing is literally about 80% of the people that I get quotes for, they all owe way more than what their car is actually worth. Being upside down in a vehicle is a very bad thing. And unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. Now, if you can buy a newer car, you can usually roll that negative equity into there. But most of the EVs that we saw, people were $10,000 to $30,000 upside down. The craziest one I got was one of the new Hummers. They were $100,000 upside down. I think their loan was like $182,000 because they bought it at the peak. And right now the car's trending around somewhere around $96,000 at auction. And this guy was mortified. And I told him, I can go buy one. I showed him clips from Facebook and Instagram. You could literally buy a brand new Hummer all over in different areas for like $110,000, $115,000. Why am I going to pay, almost $200,000 for years it's used that just because it's got some ugly wheels that he put on it? And this is the way we're seeing the market trend. Now, once again, this is not an EV bashing video. This is just to let consumers like yourselves know that you need to be very, very careful. You do not want to catch a falling knife when it comes to vehicle values, because even though prices have gotten a lot cheaper and you can get some of these cars for damn near 50% of its value, which I'll be honest with you, now that the Audi e-tron GT was like 50 grand, I was even considering buying one of those because they're actually really nice looking cars and the build quality is way better than Tesla. But, still seeing how the market is reacting to EVs really blows my mind. And one of the other things that kind of scared me is if you go to Car Gurus, because I like to look at all the market reports, but nobody believes me. But I'll tell you what, if you go to Car Gurus and you go to oldest cars in the market and click on Tesla, you will see cars that are over a year old that are still for sale. There's tons of Teslas everywhere. Now, a lot of people keep saying that, oh, well, Teslas are still selling, they're still doing great, blah, blah, blah. I almost think of it as an iPhone. Remember when a new iPhone comes out, everybody and their grandma goes out and buys the newest, latest thing, and then you just kind of get rid of their old one? I'm guilty of that too, but guess what? As of last year, I didn't buy the new iPhone. I still have, I think, was it the 13 or 14? I think it's the 14. I'm still rocking the 14. Maybe when the 16 comes out, I'll get it. All these new Tesla buyers are not going out and buying the brand new Tesla, the latest one, because, traditionally, if you bought a car, let's say for 60 grand, and then you pay it down and the new one comes out and it's 70, you could upgrade to the next one and maybe cover some of that negative equity. But if you bought a car for 70 grand and now you could buy that new car today in 2024 for 65, you're $5,000 upside down without even starting anything. The car is cheaper today than it was a year ago. So basically, you're pricing out all of your customers out of the market. They basically screwed everybody that wants to buy a car today and buy a car every year. They can't afford it because they're so upside down in their cars. Another scary thing, I don't know if it was either Automotive News or Motor Trend, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll see if I put a link in the description. They put out a very interesting report back in 2022 that 1 out of every 6 EV buyers were going back to ICE vehicles. And as of today, supposedly, it's 1 out of every 4 are basically walking away from EVs and going back to ICE vehicles. Now, this is not only a trend for people, but it's also for fleets and companies. Now, there's a lot of manufacturers that I talked to that are offering fleet rentals or fleet discounts if you were to purchase EVs. And unfortunately, a lot of those programs were canceled after the Hertz debacle. If you don't know, Hertz bought, I think it was 110,000 of Teslas to put all across the United States and some places in Europe because they figured that people wanted them and they wanted to be the first mover in that market to have all the EVs and have a big majority share. But unfortunately, they lost their ass. Nobody wanted them. They weren't renting. And here in Vegas, they basically were giving them out to Uber and Lyft drivers so they can just rack up a bunch of miles because nobody wanted to rent them. So after that epic fail, the CEO basically stepped down. Hertz is getting rid of all these cars. That's why if you want a cheap 3 Series or Model 3, go down to Hertz, talk to somebody there. If you know a dealer, you could buy them. They got hundreds of them every single week at auction. You can get one cheap. Trust me. I just bought 3 of them. Unfortunately, I lost my ass on those ones, but that's what you're starting to see is people are just walking away from them. And this is only going to get worse. Now, like I said, as of today, I am no longer buying EVs. I'm going to sit back and wait to see what the market does because I knew that there was going to be a dip and we knew that there was going to be a fall off and things were going to balance out. But what I'm currently seeing now is showing me that there's nothing to stop the EV market from collapsing even further because just, I don't know why, just people just don't want the EVs. I don't know if it's like the cell phone thing, everybody wants the newest, latest thing, if it's the actual charging systems, whatever else, who knows? But I'd love to know your opinion on what you guys currently think of the EV market. And if I said anything that offended you or made you mad, please in the comment section let me know. And it's okay if your opinion is different from mine, that's okay, we can still be friends. But your opinion matters, so please put it in the comment section below. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and we'll see you next video.